Hello and welcome. E3 2015 is raging all across Los Angeles. Day one is in the books, and we are here to talk about it. And we're brought to you tonight by Squarespace. But,
Yeah,
says it right there.
okay. All right.
can't miss it.
They sent the right one, right?
I mean, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
built beautiful, so
It has to be. It has to be.
But not beautifully.
no.
I'm Jeff Gerstmann. We are here, coming to you from GiantBomb.com to talk about our experiences at the show. We're going to have guests throughout the evening, going for the next set of hours here, hanging out, chopping it up, talking about our time on the show floor. With me, Alex Navarro, Dan Reichert,
Hey.
Austin Walker,
That's me.
and in the back holding it down, Brad Shoemaker.
Howdy.
Brad Showmaker.
Hey,
More like.
Boom.
Thanks, IT.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so day one in the books. We did all our press conference business, hit the show floor, and Alex, you ran off almost immediately to go see Rock Band 4, right?
Yes, that was the very first appointment of the day.
Yeah.
So
How'd that go?
They were very hot to show the new freestyle guitar solo business. That was the main thing they were showing during their demos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Watching that video that they put out, I did not completely understand how that stuff worked.
Yes.
Within 2 songs of actually playing it, I completely understand how that thing works now.
Yeah, I bet it's going to be the sort of thing where, like, when they're demoing it here to people at the show, but they're going to go, people are just going to go, oh, so I just play whatever, and just go,
Well, that's what they did with the drum solo, so I assume that that's going to be the first thing people will want to do.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've fixed the drum solos in this game as well.
Yeah,
or-
so the drum fills, it's what they did in 3, where you can toggle it. Is either there's the full fill section or it's just the crash.
Right. Okay.
And it's the same thing with the solos. It is a toggleable thing. If you just want the fully charted solos as they were, they're there. But if you want to noodle around with this thing, it's kind of neat. Because the only thing you have to pay attention to for the most part is the strum bar. There's a number of visual cues that tell you whether you're supposed to be on the top of the neck or down. And then it's just like, here are 8th notes, here are 16th notes. Just try and strum
Like
along
here's a
with that.
wavy line.
Yes.
So play whatever.
That's
on
like
this
that's
side or-
where you're supposed to do feedback and the whammy bar kind of stuff.
Okay.
That's like a sustained note where you're like holding it.
Yeah.
But in general, you can kind of just play any combination of notes that you want.
Yeah.
And it weirdly works. Like, it actually sounds like it jives with the song.
Yeah. So when I saw it, they had just a dev mode toggle for you. Just hey, solo through the entire song, and I just was able to play through a Tom Petty song with it just kind of set to solo, and just kind of soloed my way through the entire song.
Which one?
Run Down a Dream. I actually
Yeah, it was
okay.
Run Down a Dream as they had on there.
What songs are even in this thing? I feel like I haven't heard any.
So I mean, they're showing it off with like a mix of like existing
Old
DLC
and new, yeah.
and some of the new stuff. I think they announced like 6 new songs right before, including "Warrior" by Scandal.
Yep. That was one of the first ones they showed.
So
Okay.
yeah,
And they're confirming 1,500 DLC songs at this point. Is that
That was what they said will be available. I think they're probably still trying to add more, but that's what they're saying of the old DLC will be available.
So one of the things they said when they introduced the guitar solo stuff, when I saw it a few weeks ago, was I guess Greg Lopiccolo up there, kind of saying like, "Hey, this is something we've been trying to do since the beginning.
Yes.
This is something we've wanted to do. You spent some time working at Harmonix through like what, like Rock Band 3?
It was 2 through 3. Like, I was there for 2 and I was there for Beatles.
Okay. Did you get any sense that that was something that was happening internally, or was it something that they were banging away on off? You know,
It was
off to the side.
it was kind of something they were banging away on off to the side. I never played any builds that had that stuff in it. I think they never really got too far beyond the experimental stage with most of those games. I think if I'm totally hopefully not making this up, but I remember 3. That was something they were also talking about. But I think Pro Guitar and everything else kind of won that battle.
Oh, sure.
And it for what it sounds like, the version that they have now is something they've really only been experimenting with for the last year.
Okay.
And that was when they finally felt like they had the right system, the right technology to make that work.
Right.
So is the old DLC going to be retrofitted with the new systems for solos and stuff
It
like that?
sounds like they will have it.
Yeah.
Because like the Tom Petty song is an old DLC song.
Okay.
So, and it was there and it worked. And apparently whatever tech they're using, there's some proprietary stuff and there's something they're licensing. whatever they're licensing has a database of like every major guitar amp ever. So, and they're just using that to kind of like they're associating
like software amp, like an amplitude type thing, and
So somehow it works.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
That I had fun with when I was messing with it a while back.
It makes the performance aspect much better because you're not sitting there just kind of like trying to hit every single note like carefully looking at it. Like you just have to watch the strumming, and then you can just screw around
but it seems
any
like
way
if
you
people
want.
Aren't watching the strumming, it still kind of sounds like a mess.
It's not hard. Like I within 2 songs, I had started nailing it, and I have not played Rock Band guitar in a very long time.
I more just mean drunken people that are willfully not interested in getting it.
I think they'll still
you'll
make
have
something
situations
work.
where
Right
Yeah.
here.
it'll be in key,
Yeah.
but it'll still be people going as fast as they
Yeah.
can. I went to that Microsoft thing last night very briefly, and that's exactly what someone was doing there. Is just like, so I just play whatever, and it's just like, I mean, yeah, you
can do
could
that.
do
Doing
that.
the Hendrix teeth thing.
Yeah, no, totally. That's yes, yeah. I want to learn. I'm gonna start playing all my songs. I got to a point where I could actually play. I mean, that's not that hard, really, because you're still looking at the screen. But you know,
Yeah.
like playing behind my head and stuff like that.
Bunch of showboats over here.
What?
Chip is part of the guitar playing.
Just me hanging out in my underwear playing Rock Band by myself,
When it went wireless, we spin around.
crying. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The way it was meant to be played.
yeah,
Sobbing.
sobbing. Yes, Dan, what'd you get around and see today?
Drew and I played some Halo Guardians, and Brad, I think you got around to that today, right?
Yeah, me
I
and
did as
Jeff.
well.
Okay, so a few of us have the that Warzone mode,
Yes.
and I think we probably played on that same map, that kind of dusty one that was on a cliffside.
Yeah, I
it
think that's
seemed.
the only map they have.
Yeah. It was weird because like we didn't really have much of a briefing as far as what this mode was. You know, we saw the press conference thing, but once we got thrown into it, it was pretty easy to tell. Like just things on the HUD would pop up. Like, okay, these seem to be like neutral robots that are probably mad at us. I should probably kill them.
Right. Yeah.
and
you
then
get, like, you know, there were like legendary monsters that would give you. So it's like 1,000 points to win, but there were legendary creatures that would give you 200 points if you killed them.
Yeah, it'll be
so-
like 75 VP or whatever.
Right,
and
but
you
you're not
get,
going
like,
to kill them
victory
yourself.
points.
So it's like, hey,
Right.
guys, let's go kill the thing.
You said legendary monsters, and something I didn't know was in me went ooh, because
Yeah.
like I didn't know I wanted to shoot like.
That's just your brain playing tricks on
It
you.
is, but
Yeah.
but also I didn't know that was a thing. I hadn't thought about Halo as a thing with creeps or with NPCs
Right.
in the multiplayer
Well, maybe
matches.
we can like trick Brad on this one. It's like they filled the map with a lot of Roshans.
Okay, all right.
Is that a Dota thing?
maybe.
Okay.
Just assume it is.
Let me pick
Oh,
up the
yeah,
Aegis.
you
You get
do.
cheese, though.
All right.
How do I-
I'm gonna
do
pop
I-
my BKB.
How many?
And buy
how
back.
expensive is the rapier?
You can buy back. You can sort of buy back in this game. Actually, weirdly enough,
6,300.
you can jump the respawn queue if you spend your requisition points.
Oh, no shit.
So if you buy a vehicle, that's the other
right,
thing.
right.
It's like you
How
have
do
you have a default loadout
Okay.
of like kind of standard Halo weapons. But
like
if you
assault
want like a
rifle and
rocket
pistol.
launcher, or if you want to spawn in a ghost, then
Which I do.
Then you have to have a certain level of clearance, and then you can only call in a certain number of those per match.
And you earn clearance by.
Just playing.
Yeah.
I don't
level
know.
up, so like you will level and like your team as a whole levels, and you get these little
okay.
green pips at the bottom. And so like by the end of the match, I had like 6 or 7, or actually more than that, pips. And so you could buy like, oh, this Spartan laser for 6 points or whatever, and then it just seemed to kind of be like a cooldown at the bottom. Although we couldn't tell if it was a cooldown or if it was your team.
Well, when I
doing
went to go
shit.
spawn a ghost, it just said ghost ×2, and then
Yeah,
when
that's
that
your
one
stock.
blew up, so it looks like
Yeah.
you have a stock of
Oh,
ghosts.
okay.
It's not
Yeah.
you're not spending your pips.
But
You're
before
just-
that, your team has to level up, and every level your team gains, it unlocks some number of new weapons and
Yeah.
vehicles that you can access. So, like, the better your team does, the better a chance you have of just stomping them, because you're getting better and better stuff constantly.
right.
Well, there's also an element of just like typical domination, to where there were 3 control points basically.
Okay.
And if you hold all 3 of those, like these, laser walls or whatever go down, and you go to attack the team's core. And so you can win by getting to 1,000 overall points, which you get by kills and just the typical domination thing.
Yeah.
Or if you don't get to 1,000, you can just destroy the core and win right away.
Right.
Or time runs out,
yeah,
and whoever's got the
yeah,
most.
yeah.
So
That
it
sounds
had
cool.
a lot of different elements and stuff, and yeah, having like AI mid bosses and stuff in the middle of the field that are just kind of fucking up everyone regardless of red or blue. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff.
It was a fun mixed
To it.
mode of just a kind of a grab bag of stuff.
But also, like I just it's been a while since that beta was out, and kind of haven't really been thinking a lot about Halo 5 lately. But like getting back to it and playing a little bit, there was this moment of like, wow, this is really fucking smooth.
It plays really
like
well.
that like 60 frames a second goes a long way.
Yeah.
Especially for a franchise like Halo that hasn't necessarily had that all the time. You know,
Well, and the mobility stuff, using that B button to kind of dash around. I didn't do much of the like Spartan charge thing, but sometimes if you're on the elevated thing and you jump up, you can hold in that RB thing to set your reticle and try to do a ground pound on someone.
Yeah.
Which if you land that, that's super satisfying. But yeah, it just feels really good. The clamber thing's really good, like extending jumps with that B button. Like the whole thing just controlled well. The presentation was awesome. I like the idea of this new mode. So yeah, I mean, I think overall the game looks awesome.
Yeah. So Brad and I got an extended version of that to a certain extent because we were taught the rules of Warzone while wearing HoloLens.
Yeah, from Captain Chambers, was it?
No, it was Sarah
Captain Palmer.
Sarah
Commander
Palmer.
Palmer.
She's the lady from the Lady Spartan from the Halo.
Okay. She was standing on the table in front of us.
Yeah. So real crazy. This was actually really cool.
This is-
I was
yeah.
actually, I mean, like there are holes in this tech that this can't be the final HoloLens.
Yeah.
But so they started by actually I don't have it, but they started by measuring the distance between our eyes.
Yep.
Which is I think step one to say like this is not the final HoloLens.
Right.
And when they determined that, they were able to configure it to what it needed to be or whatever. They put us in, had us calibrate, and then they just said like, hey, turn left and follow the waypoint. And you're like, you turn your head to the left, and there's like a fucking Halo waypoint down the hallway.
Like floating in the middle.
Floating in the middle of the room, in the middle of space.
It
and
looked
you're
like it belonged there.
Yeah. Just like pointing to which room you needed to go into.
Man.
It was fucking crazy.
It was really trippy.
Yo, like this is the shit that we were all like rolling our eyes at when Google Glass was trying to pitch it to us.
Yeah.
But in the context of video games, it feels
Well, in the context of actually like being an overlay and not a little thing in the
Right.
corner too.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Totally.
that's
Well,
a
totally.
big difference.
the graphics they're able to display in the field of view of this thing are really nice. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what, it's probably a PC off in a closet somewhere rendering them, but,
Right,
but they
yeah.
look really good.
Yeah, for this demo, yeah, it's hard to say what the final experience would be like based on this, but like in terms of like proof of concept of technology, I came out of the thing going like, fuck, like that was really neat.
So does
Yeah.
it feel like something's been projected onto glass, or does it feel like there's a thing in the
it
world?
felt like it was down the hall.
It feels like
fuck,
so.
man.
The moment for me was so the animation we were watching was like this kind of computer graphicsy looking like hologram mission briefing thing. You know, kind of zooming into the map and showing you points of control and stuff. But there was that point where the little terminal that you get the weapons out of, like they zoomed it out of the map toward you and floated it in midair. It's like this is the thing you run up to get your weapons out of. Like my brain had a little like my brain tweaked for a second, and I almost like reached up to touch the thing because it was floating right in front of me, and it looked
yeah,
kind of real.
Like it looked like it was in.
It looked tangibly there. in
So
front of
like you walk to the waypoint,
Man.
then on your way to this briefing table, they actually had to like, hey, stop and look at this thing, and you look over this panel, and it is as you look at the panel, you see that it is projecting something on it. It's a little window, so it's like it opens up and it's like you're just looking out into a hangar, and there's a
Yeah.
bunch of spaceships out there.
You can see,
and I
like-
got down low and looked,
Yeah.
and the angle changed appropriately. It didn't pop. It wasn't janky. I was
Yeah.
just looking at it going like,
the perspective change as you move physically around the thing, like it's almost perfect. Like
were-
the tracking is really impressive.
So were you like actually looking at a wall and it looked like you were seeing a window? With,
Yeah,
Like
they were
a hangar
painting
behind
the
it?
window, but there was depth to it. It looked 3D, like it looked like it was actually far away.
yeah. So after a little bit of that, the window closes. Then you walk in and get this briefing. And at one point in the briefing, like before the briefing started, we were sitting there looking at a spinning ship.
Yeah.
And when you looked at the ship, a little reticle would pop up on the ship, and you could look around at different spots on the ship, and it would highlight them and say, "Hey, this is the engine room. This is the other bit." So it was like
Yeah.
interactive, and I think that was probably different for everyone in the room. There were like 5 people around this table. They all had it facing them. And the table had a bunch of dots on it, so you could look at it and go like, okay, that's probably how they're like figuring out how to make
Yeah.
this all work.
Sure.
But like, other than it kind of popping a couple of times, it was pretty good. The
Yeah.
only thing I'll say though is like, so the other kind of proof of concept thing is like, it didn't fill your entire peripheral
field-
vision.
the field of
it
view
was
is fucking
like a
tiny.
16:9 square, like in the middle of your vision.
It was hard for me to keep the entire scene.
yeah. So I had
in
to
that-
step back to
Yeah.
see it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one thing where you're like, okay, this you can't ship this.
Which again, that's not how it looks in their Minecraft
Yeah,
demo.
exactly. They don't
That was
indicate
the
that
whole
in the
thing.
demos.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing was that there's audio in that thing, but it was like kind of coming out of it, and it was really tinny
Yeah.
in a way that like it sounded fine for the thing we were, the presentation we were getting right then and there. But if you were expecting like game audio to come out of that thing, it would be unacceptable.
Right.
So with the reticle down the hallway, let's say something's supposed to be 20 feet down the hall. Like if you put your hand in front of the glass or whatever, it would
you
still
put-
be
if
like
you put your
protected on your
hand-
hand,
yes,
right?
yes,
okay. 'Cause
exactly.
it can't know
Yes.
that like it's
Okay.
in the way.
Yes, I did that a couple of times. Like put my hand over the table and
Right.
still saw the.
It's protected on your hand.
was- yeah.
basically.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
shame.
Okay.
Yeah.
To
I
be
mean, I
fair,
don't
that
know how they
also
would-
happens with waypoints in video games, where it's like if our waypoint is over there, it'll just show up through the
That's true,
wall.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
There could be like a whole
Yeah.
building between you and the waypoint.
Yeah.
You still see the waypoint. So.
Right.
But other than like intentionally trying to break the illusion, like it looked like it was actually that far away. It looked like it was a good 15 feet down the hall.
It was rad.
It was pretty fucking
Like-
crazy.
I don't know how they use this in conjunction with video games and the Xbox and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I bet they
But-
don't either.
Yo,
Well, that's what they hired. Was it Casey Hudson to figure
Casey
out?
Casey
Yeah.
Right?
Hudson came in.
But like that thing's fucking cool as
Yeah.
shit.
I
Yeah.
want those escape the room games. Do you know about those?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want them to get HoloLens and just have just like an empty
Oh.
building and just like do some shit.
Like
Yeah.
iterate on that tech another 2 or 3 years, and it'll be
Yeah.
holy shit amazing.
Yeah, it was.
That's interesting.
It was already kind
It
of
was-
there,
yeah.
but like there were too many limitations.
Yes,
Like this
yes.
isn't something they couldn't take this and put it in a store.
This is not a consumer
But
market.
even the
it-
sensation of using
yeah.
what they had was already like nothing I had ever
Right.
seen before.
It's smart of them to get out there right now and do
Yeah.
this though, because in a
Yeah.
year, all of us will have done something like this at a Best Buy.
Right,
And
yeah.
and now this is the first time you've done it. This is now tied to your memory of augmented reality.
Yeah, it was smart for them to make like
smart.
a cool little Halo thing
Yep.
too, because that's not going to be in the final game. Like when we booked this thing, and it was like Halo 5 experience,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
what they were
kind of knew
calling
that
it.
HoloLens was involved. Like, okay, so is Halo 5 going to have HoloLens support? That game's out this fall. What's
Yeah,
going on?
yeah.
It was not
totally separate.
totally separate
They walked
thing.
us. They made us take the Hololens off and walk into another room to play the game.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man,
but
the
it's,
thing was
it's crazy.
cool.
It is really interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I wasn't really sure what to expect, but it was
Yeah.
it was pretty neat. Let's see. So Austin,
Hey,
you were out and about.
I was today. I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I saw people.
Cool.
They were nice.
Good.
It's loud in there.
Yeah.
Which is-
Have you been to E3?
This is my
This
first
your first
E3.
E3.
Oh, wow.
It's my first
Okay,
E3,
so
I know. That's
out
why
on the show floor.
I just kind of like I spent some time today walking around the show floor and trying to like get my bearings. And tomorrow I have some appointments.
Yeah.
So that'll be most of what I do. Today it was just like, like I thought this place was closed to the public. It's just that now everyone can have a YouTube channel and everyone
Right.
can have like. I'm not trying to take away from the people who have those things at all.
Totally.
Like they put in way more work than
Look,
I
when,
do.
when I was getting into CES in '94, it was like this Kinko's printed
Right.
newsletter that was like, "Yeah, we're the media."
Yeah.
Yep.
I wonder
You
what
know,
the threshold is for like YouTube subscribers.
I don't know,
It's
I don't
like,
know. But, like, it's-
50,000.
Well, at
or-
some point they raised they kind of added some restrictions for online media to say like, hey, you
Yeah.
need to have tax forms, you need to be a
Yep.
business.
Right. Oh,
and
wow.
I remember
also
when we started this site, we had to present our business license to get.
right
to get
yeah
E-
yeah the
E3
first
media
year they wanted
badges.
that, and then
Oh, wow.
it hasn't been a problem ever
Yeah,
since.
yeah,
but
yeah.
It's an
As-
interesting thing.
As of even like 2008, I was just giving friends like a Kodak
Right.
camera and be like, "Hey, just say you're my photographer."
Yeah.
They would get in, you know.
Right.
So that must be
Oh
recent.
yeah,
that
I
they
had my
cut down on that.
friend
Yeah.
put my name on his GeoCities site one year, and that was fine for a media badge.
yeah, like it
We
used
should
to
get a
be.
GeoCities site.
Yeah.
I got in with Bleem
You know,
originally.
we should
That's
just
right. You were here with Bleem,
Bleemcast? Like that
Wow.
thing?
Yeah.
emulating PS1 games, hauling
Getting shut
T-shirts
down by
or
Sony
something.
lawyers.
Did Sony lawyers just straight up? They came over to the booth and
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
started
Kensha.
shit,
Yes.
didn't they?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, you're Kensha.
They started
All right.
messes.
Yeah,
It was fantastic.
That was scandalous.
that was really great stuff.
Things
Yeah.
are a little more clean.
Banned
these
from
days.
E3.
You could play Metal Gear
I
Solid on
wasn't.
Dreamcast.
Last night I played For Honored though, For Honor, and I
Yeah.
liked that. That was a thing.
Yeah,
We recorded the thing. Alex and I recorded the thing about that. People should listen to that.
Yeah,
but
what's
like,
the story? What?
I mean, it's a multiplayer game.
No, I mean like, what's the story? Like, how do you?
All
cut
right,
fools?
so you and me, like there's a battlefield,
Okay,
right?
all right, Battlefield.
It's
I
like
played
all
that.
right, so there's 3 control points.
Okay, I unlock scopes. What am I doing here?
Well, you unlock like the ability to rally your troops.
Okay.
All right, so there's 3 control points on a map.
Okay.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It's 4 and 4. Each team wants to take over multiple control points to gain points, to gain like victory points. Once you gain 1,000 victory points, it breaks the other team, and then instead of respawning, they're in permadeath mode.
Okay.
So that's like the kind of big picture structure of it. The small stuff is like R1 is light attack, R2 is heavy attack. That's how you kill like just the peons, just like the regular troops. When
So
you
there's AI troops.
there are AI
out there
troops.
as well.
That
Okay,
stuff
yeah.
from the trailer
Yeah.
was true.
Okay.
And they are like contesting the points. They will fill up the points, especially like the central point, and you have to kill them to capture that point. The hero units, like kind of like other knights and stuff, you have to lock onto them with like the left trigger, and And then it's like a positional thing where right thumbstick changes whether your stance like right, left, or up. And if you and I are matching stances, you'll block every attack I hit.
Okay.
So and there's an indicator on the screen to tell like, oh, he's in top stance. Like this was an animation, but also just like a little line, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm up there and you're up there, then I'll block you. But it's a lot of like juking and like trying to, psych you out.
Nidhogg.
It does feel a little bit like Nidhogg, except what if also in the middle of you and me playing Nidhogg, Brad could come up and just like hit me in the back of the head?
No, I don't
and
like
right
that
now,
at
like
all.
that's not real fun. It's not really good about letting you escape from combat in like a quick way. But it's very clear that escaping from combat is very important because if I can
Like a 2-on-1 situation seems like it'd go real bad.
it can go real bad. But at the same time, it can go real bad over the course of 10 seconds, or it can go real bad over the course of 2 minutes. And if I get you two locked up on me for 2 minutes, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even if I lose that, then you're here at control point A that you never actually get because it's contested, instead, while the rest of my team is running the rest of it.
Yeah.
And so it ends up being really fun. There's this, like, really great back and forth, especially at the end of the match, where both sides keep going into this broken state, where it's like, oh shit, like we're down to 2 people, oh we rally, and we get them back into the same state, and then they rally, and that is really interesting. And I'm curious to see if what that is,
Right, in terms of it being a full game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Does the dueling feel like a good old-fashioned sword fight? Like, do you feel like you can see their move coming in and anticipate it and kind of counter it or parry or whatever?
Yeah, like there is definitely that feeling of like last second switching into the right stance so that you get that parry and then doing a quick couple of counter hits. It's not as deadly as Bushido Blade. I want everything to be as deadly as Bushido Blade.
Yeah.
But it's still like a good combo or two.
Load times are too long these days for
They
everything
really
to
are.
be as deadly as
This is true.
Bushido.
This is true.
Yeah.
Real talk, load times are already too long for Bushido
Okay,
Blade.
yeah,
Times
all
between
right.
matches was
Yeah,
not good. So the thing that ends up being kind of nice about it not being super deadly is that you can get someone down to like one little bar of health, and then they will manage to get away from you. And that chase is really interesting and fun. So they're doing something there. I hope the samurai are cool. I hope the Vikings are cool. We
Right, I
only saw
wonder
the
like how
knights.
different it would
Right. I hope it's not just they have samurai archers instead of a catapult.
Right.
That's like some of the special abilities, right? I hope that they feel different, and I would like to see the cross cultural combat stuff. I want to know who the deadliest warrior is.
There was
not
already
talk
a game for
yeah,
that.
let's not
They
talk
already
about those
answered that
deadliest
question.
warrior
Was there?
games.
I don't. Okay,
The deadliest warrior was you all along.
that's all right.
Those are they're kind of like bad but brutal fighting games. You ever play that stuff?
I don't think so,
Yeah.
no. Was
I
that
think you and I
Just arcade?
quick looked one of those a long
Yeah, it
time
was like
ago.
XBLA. Like it was
Oh, okay.
rough. It's pretty rough stuff, but that did super well, if I remember right.
Yes.
Because they made a second
They
one.
made, yes.
Oh
they
wait,
made
it was
more.
based on the TV show,
Yes.
right?
The
Okay,
TV
yeah,
show
That
was
was
yeah,
I didn't
weird
come
did
up
play
with the
that.
phrase.
You'd be like a knight fighting like
Yeah.
okay.
This
yeah,
is the frustrating thing, actually. Was like I asked them, like, "Oh, is Bushido Blade one of your influences? Is this like Mountain Blade? Because it is. It's like Mountain Blade in terms of
Yeah.
the combat and stuff." They're like, "No. This is an original idea. This is
It's
a
a
new
new
genre."
genre.
No one has ever made a
Dog,
game
I'm getting
called
control
Melee
points.
Combat. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Dog. So, but maybe they do have a single player campaign that I don't
Don't
know
make
about.
that guy take the sword cane out.
He was there. I didn't talk to him. I was afraid.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
He was
With the
very
cane?
intense. He had the
Yeah, he had
cane
the cane.
and the beard. Neither of those were props.
That's a winning combo.
Yeah, he looked pretty. He looked pretty intense. So that was
Cool.
good.
All
I
right.
saw someone else on the show floor with a cane today.
Yeah.
It made me wonder.
How much vaping did you guys see?
None.
None.
I saw some
Pirate vapor?
Yeah, we saw the vape pirate
Yep.
out there on
mean,
the streets.
Wait,
the vape pirate?
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
was
The
he's
vape
like,
god?
just as a pirate,
World
vape
famous?
god.
shirt unbuttoned to about here,
Do-rag.
do-rag, and just vaping constantly. And the whole time I saw him on the show floor, I was wondering if he was cosplaying or if that was just him. I think that's just that dude.
cosplaying.
I don't know
as
if I like
the
Vape
vape
Pirate
god.
or Vape God better.
He looked at the pirate like to me. Brad,
Like you can't vape on the floor, right?
He was.
Surely, like in the building.
He
Just
had a
vapor,
stupid metal
dude.
thing. in his-
Just
The laws
vapor.
have not caught up yet.
Come on, Brad.
Hello.
You spent some time out and about.
I did.
You saw some Dark Souls.
Yeah,
3.
I saw a bunch of Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
Austin and I recorded a long conversation that's on the Giant Bomb Presents feed
Okay.
about that.
Give it to me quick.
Short answer, it looks like a Dark Souls game, but it looks really good. I mean, like it's at the level of Bloodborne in terms of fidelity and
Looks like a Dark Souls game, but it looks really good.
well,
I like that phrasing.
It looks current gen.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, all right.
Like it's clearly built from the ground up. Miyazaki was there. He was at the podium when I walked in the room. I was like, all right, good. You got the guy. He is directing it right. But he actually said during the Q&A that he has a co-director. Like, it's been the big question. The fan base is like, super fixated on is Miyazaki making these games, you know,
Right,
like to
yeah.
almost to like,
Because
to,
what's the deal? Like he didn't do Dark Souls 2, right?
Correct.
Well,
So-
he had
and-
like an executive producer.
Yeah,
Right.
And a lot of people in the fan base consider 2 to be the worst one, and
They're
so
wrong.
like there's this narrative now that like, oh, if he doesn't direct the game, it's not going to be as good.
Yeah.
They actually started working on 3 like a year before 2 shipped, so like they were at like a prototyping phase by the time he actually came onto this. So they had a bunch of ideas in place, and it was going before he came onto the project. What else? They're going really heavy with like weapon customization stuff. Like where the major complaint about Bloodborne was, oh, there's not enough options in like the builds for your character and how you want to play. Like it seems like they're going all the way in the other direction with this one, because every weapon has like an alternate. It's not as simple as, do I want to one-hand or two-hand this thing? Every weapon has like a sort of another stance you can go into with it now.
Is it like the Bloodborne stuff where you just flick your wrist and?
Well, it doesn't change. The weapon doesn't change, but
Okay,
like
it's just
with
how you
the,
hold it?
The one-hand sword that they were using, the example was they had a ready stance for that one, where the guy like would basically hold it like this up by his head, and that allows like a whole different set of animations you can go into. They're adding stuff like they're adding a short bow that you can shoot without going into the long, drawn-out like animation of shooting it. You can shoot it really fast, kind of from the hip. So you can like dash around a guy and be pelting him with arrows, and mix sword in there and stuff.
Did that feel Bloodborne-like? Like where you kind of got your ranged?
No,
and...
not well, kind of. That particular like
Plus
that guy
the
was wearing
sword.
like basically rags and had like a short sword and the bow, so he was clearly built as like a very nimble character.
Yeah.
But they totally had like big sword and shield build guy
Right,
too. So it's obviously still got the Dark Souls stuff. You have a torch. It doesn't burn out like it did in 2. That's not time limited, and it's got like nice dynamic lighting on it and stuff. Which
For
is,
now.
we'll see. I don't know. I saw it running. It seems to work. They seem to have gotten past their technical issues with that stuff. It looks nice, but it looks like something Dark Souls fans will be way into.
Cool.
But definitely still a Dark Souls game.
Cool. Alex, what else did you get around to see?
I saw a couple different things. I got over and I finally saw Cuphead.
Yeah,
that is
man.
playable
Nice.
on the floor.
Man.
I
Okay.
did not know that.
I got a chance to talk to one of the devs. I'm going to check on that interview to make sure it did not come out super garbled, but I talked to him for like 10 minutes, played a little bit of it. So that game is basically a series of boss fights.
Oh,
It is a
okay.
series
All right.
of fight, and they're meant to be longer. Like I think they're supposed to
Interesting.
take like 10 to 15 minutes each, and it's hard.
Say that sounds intense.
Are there checkpoints in the middle of like once you get to
no,
Form 2 or
that's
whatever?
the thing. So like when I was asking him like what he was sort of looking at from a gameplay perspective, he was like listing off like 16-bit Contra games and like all these other like fairly hard shooters.
Okay.
And that's true to the experience that I had playing it, because I kind of got smoked in most of the fights that I tried to jump in on. It is, and he said the one mistake they made was it's just a hub world where you go from stage to stage. None of it is marked by difficulty for that demo, so you don't really know what you're walking
Oh.
into.
Yeah.
It almost
but-
feels like Titan Souls or something.
In a way.
So there is no sequence of just kind of standard platforming with fodder enemies.
So what he said was that there's more that they're doing. Like they're adding NPCs and they're adding some other stuff to that world. But I think the main stages are meant to be these individual fights.
Okay, I guess that's how they get to make that game look like that. Because if they have to
Yes.
generate
Yeah.
a full, like 8 full stages of art, at some point they're like, well, that's going to take us 9,000 years.
Or it
He was-
becomes
he said that-
tile-based and not
Right,
very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
He was telling me that like the animation stuff is definitely the most time-intensive aspect of that game. Like they have been working very hard to ensure that every animation does exactly what it's supposed to, and that is ridiculously manpower intensive.
Yeah, I
So
bet.
does it look as good as it seems to look?
It looks good up close.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah.
real good up close.
Yeah.
I think that, if that game has the progression that he says it will, where it's like it is actually much easier to start, and then it sort of eases you into some of those later stages, it could be really cool.
How's the sound design? Is there like some good 30s ragtime
Yes,
type stuff in
there
there?
is
Like
terrific jazz music,
Okay.
and all the sound, like not all, but like a lot of the sound effects, like the shooting effects, are all mouthed.
Oh.
Like
What?
they are doing
That's-
that's amazing.
Yeah, they are doing vocal
Oh,
sound
Really
effects.
Cool.
It's
And doesn't he actually like just do this when he shoots?
yes,
like, that's
he
what
just
he's
does
shooting.
it.
He doesn't
He's
have a
shooting
gun.
out of his hand. Yeah, it's
rules.
fantastic.
Okay.
Excellent.
Is that coming out this year?
He was non-committal.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Dan, you see anything else?
We both went and saw XCOM 2.
We did.
Yeah, we saw a demo of one level. So yeah, we talked about a bit where this time the humans are kind of like the resistance and the aliens have taken over.
Yeah.
And the one we saw, they were about to erect a statue to commemorate like 20 years of the aliens coming down.
unification.
Yeah, yeah. Where it seems like the mainstream media and stuff is saying they're like, oh, okay, the aliens are cool and everything, but they're really like super shitty or whatever.
So they're not trying to
so-
eradicate humanity. They're trying to like
They're like
establish
enslaving
a new,
it
a new order?
basically,
Huh.
like they're in charge or something.
Okay.
Like that. That's kind of the
It's been
sense I got.
assimilated into the
Yeah.
broader alien culture.
We all sell out every day.
So yeah, there's plenty of people that are like on the alien
Yeah.
side or whatever, or the news and stuff. But you're the resistance, and so what
They
you're
just
trying
want
to
to
do.
taste the good life.
Listen, I'm
Everybody
just saying,
does.
alien medicine is better than human medicine. Alien food is delicious. They have all sorts
And
of
we did
different
the
foods.
research. Like their armor is better.
They have, yeah,
Yeah,
we
that's
know
true.
that.
Took apart enough of their people
They
to know
fixed
that,
the
like,
infrastructure.
They got
it's really
fucking
good.
mind powers.
The hover
Yeah.
trains run on time, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
So the whole mission is you're supposed to go in with your team and basically put C4 on the statue and blow it up for this big publicity thing for the resistance or whatever. And yeah, it's like it's more humanoid enemies. It seems like you're actually fighting humans that are pretty much assimilated in. Like they've got the armor on and they're fighting. For,
And
like,
they don't spill human blood. It looks like they have like alien blood. So it's either aliens that are cloaked as humans, or
Right.
they have just been brought into
Unification.
the
Yep.
the collective.
It's like brown. Like when you shot it, it was like brown
I'm
blood
just
or
gonna
whatever.
name every soldier Roddy Piper.
I had a Roddy Piper in the first XCOM.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And a lot
Nice.
of other wrestlers, obviously.
Okay.
But,
Of course.
yeah. That's pretty much everyone's wrestler.
Did you make them look like the wrestlers too?
Yeah, I did. I spent
Okay.
some time. Yeah. You couldn't change the nationality, though. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. So they had more things to where, let's say you had like a melee person. Like this one lady could dash up, and I think she had a sword,
She had a sword
or something.
attack, yeah.
And it would like cut in, like the camera would cut in for a more cinematic look at the kill or whatever. So I don't know if it's going to do that more frequently.
But there was a lot of cutscene like cut-ins during the battle. Like there were a lot of like story triggers that seems like they were
Yeah.
hitting throughout. And we could not tell if that was just this demo or if they're going for that with like all these story missions.
There was one part, yeah, where there's this huge armored van or whatever, and the back doors came open, and this crazy snake lady came out, and she had laser guns, and she came and killed one
And
of
then
your
she's
dudes.
one hit killed one of your teammates.
But then you had a dude with a little drone, and he flew up to the turret on top of the armored van, took it over. It seemed like there was a meter based on like your tech level for that soldier. Like the lower tech dudes could just disable it. The mid level could control it, but you couldn't like directly
You
control it.
couldn't
I think
directly-
it would basically put it on Overwatch maybe. But then this one went all the way up, and you could actually use it as a turn and be like, I want to shoot this guy with 90%, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just like eviscerated the
Cool.
alien
Yeah.
dudes.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like XCOM with some new cool stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited for
I'm
that
That's
supposed
one.
to
this
do an
year
interview.
too.
That is this year. It's November.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do an interview with them tomorrow.
Great.
Awesome.
Cool. I went to EA and checked out
Need for Speed.
Need for Speed, which seems interesting. They're showing kind of a quick 8-player demo where it's just like, hey, you know, who can get the most points in 8 minutes and stuff like that, and everyone's just kind of loose in the world.
Oh, okay.
You're doing whatever events you want or no events. You know, like if you're just out there drifting, you're still earning rep. Like the currency is just straight up rep. You've got a lot of rep to earn in Need
On
for
these
Speed.
streets.
And you can earn it the 5 different ways. They're kind of 5 different styles or whatever. So they had drift attacks in there where you're just getting points for drifting. They've got head races in there, some car customization stuff.
Video.
They just showed the video from the press conference, so I didn't see any more of the FMV. But it looks nice and runs well.
Yeah.
They've got handling models in there too. You know, you can kind of get in there and tweak some of the nitty gritty stuff. It's not quite Forza, but you know, like tire pressure and stuff like that's in there. Or they just have an overall slider that they kind of pitch as like, do you want it to feel like Need for Speed Underground, where you're kind of, is it grip or drift? Like, do you want old Need for Speed or the more recent kind of Criterion drift Need for Speed type stuff? I went that direction and ended up, it was actually a little too loose for me, and I just was getting a little too squirrely. But it looks nice. It's hard to kind of tell like how their kind of 5 different narratives and 5 different FMV sets and all that stuff will fit together, because that wasn't really in the build. But in terms of like looking at the tech and looking at where they're at, like it looks really nice, and the handling seems good. So that seems like it could be cool. And I played the co-op Star Wars Battlefront stuff.
Is that the mission on the desert that they showed?
Yeah, it's a Tatooine level. That was the one they were pitching as like having verticality, and you get a jetpack for that.
What in Tatooine was vertical? It's just like a desert.
There are fucking cliffs up here, and there's valleys
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ravines and stuff. It's not like you're climbing a building or
Okay.
anything. But so it's a wave-based survival mode. They have 6 waves in here. With the full version, I'll have 15. And you build a loadout. You're kind of picking weapons. and then you are picking a set of cards. You pick a hand, and that sounds like that'll carry into the competitive multiplayer as well, where you'll equip cards, and they're basically like perks, like items or something. So, you know, for me, I had on right bumper, or on R1 was the jetpack, on L1 was a 3-shot grenade launcher, and then the cooldown was an ion shot that does more damage to vehicles. So when the walkers drop in, the AT-STs, those are the 2-legged ones, right?
Yes.
When those drop into the wave, you pop that and do more damage to them that way. It's 2-player. We were playing split screen. Frame rate held up, and the game has active reload. Like, you don't reload the gun. When you're firing the weapon, there's a heat meter that starts to fill up. If you let off, it drains. If you fill it, then you start to see basically a section on the heat meter that, as it starts to scale back down, you've got to active reload to clear all your heat immediately and keep firing.
That's neat.
So that's like your keep firing option, or you can just never let it get all the way up to the top, and then you'll always kind of have a little bit of shot to shoot.
So no aim down sights in that game? Is that right?
You can left trigger, right trigger that thing. It's just not sights; it's a scope on that gun. I didn't fire any pistols or anything that didn't have a scope on it, so I'm not really sure how that would work out, if it's just like if the button does nothing or what the deal is. But
Good sounds.
yeah, totally. Like the very great sound. I mean, it's the kind of thing that comes with making a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
But you know, wearing those headphones, it sounded very effective. And they're showing that multiplayer there as well, but the competitive multiplayer. But I didn't check that out. And then we saw Uncharted.
Yes, we saw a longer version of the demo from the press conference.
Yeah, so they played it a little differently. The driving part, you know, there are alternate pathways you can take and some other things you can do, and they did some of those things in there.
They spent a little bit more time on foot before the driving sequence this time,
Right,
I think.
yeah,
They kind
a
of
little bit.
jumped across a few more rooftops and fought a few more guys before they jumped in the Jeep.
Yeah, so, you know, it seems like there is some variance there, and they showed past the part where, you know, like you grapple onto the crane or whatever.
The True Lies thing?
Yeah,
Or whatever, yeah.
It shows past that.
showed
So
quite a bit past
at
that.
that point, it's largely on rails.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting dragged by that thing, and eventually you get dragged up onto the land, and you're just straight up shooting people while you're getting dragged, like shooting the engines of cars, making it blow up.
Yeah.
You know, shooting people off motorcycles. Eventually getting up into the back of a truck, punching people in the face. Doing the sort of stuff
Uncharted
you would
shit.
expect.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
Uncharted type shit, for sure.
That looks like the
Some
most...
quick time events as you escape a burning Jeep.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like the most expensive game ever made. Like,
That sequence,
full
I mean, it
fucking
looked,
stop.
It looked out fucking standing.
it has the most graphics of any game I've ever seen.
Most graphics.
Give me a
is
pixel count.
fucking insane.
Give me how many voxels?
Like the amount of detail and animation and shit going on in that game.
You know it's
like,
gonna be in the back of the
holy
box
fuck.
now, right? Most graphics, giant
Yeah,
bomb.
Right.
We keep threatening to add that category.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
you're popping up over cover and shooting at guys who kind of sponge bullets until they go down.
You're on rails shooting people that are driving a Jeep next to you.
Yeah. Like,
It's totally that game.
I don't know. Like I started feeling a little bit of that old Uncharted spirit watching it. You know, I was like, he's a fun, roguish swashbuckler. I might be able to enjoy this again. But like, it is the exact same set PC type stuff.
Yeah, and they had a little bit at the
So I
end
don't
where you do manage to escape with your brother,
Yeah.
reunite with Sully, and then run into
Elena. Yes, she seems upset with you.
Yes.
Imagine that.
She seems to think you should have been somewhere else than where you are.
Yes.
So maybe you lied to her to go do some job or something.
Damn it,
but
Nathan Drake.
What a jerk.
And
Such a rogue.
He just said he left for cigarettes, and then he went off doing
Basically,
that stuff.
yeah, pretty much. So, it looked
It looks
fantastic,
incredible.
Yeah, it looked fantastic, and we saw it being played as well, and
Right.
you know, it looked like that still.
Yeah.
So, that's the bulk of what I saw today.
Yep.
I saw Greg Miller. He seems to be doing well.
You ate a hot pepper.
I did. Yeah, that's on the internet.
It's on the internet.
Yeah. Well, that's I think gonna do it for our first segment. Anyone see anything else?
Yeah, I
real
just
quick
very
here?
briefly,
Yeah.
I got a chance to play Watam with Keita
Ah.
Takahashi.
What do you do?
Okay, so it's kind of that game is basically a halfway point between Katamari, which had like objectives and levels, and Nobi Nobi Boy, which was just directionless craziness for the most part.
Perfect. All right, great.
Basically the whole premise of the game is you are messing around with these different characters that you saw in that trailer they put out.
yeah.
There are different objectives you have to do to progress to each next stage. The one boss fight they showed was this pillow character, who every time he would hold hands with another character, he would put them to sleep. So you had to find the character that would stop that from happening, and it was a little coffee bean that was running around. And then the coffee bean held hands with the pillow. The pillow got really excited. Everyone woke up, and then eventually you have to get the mayor in with everyone, and then they all explode, and that gets you to the next stage.
Video games.
That sounds really cool.
It sounds great.
It's really cute. I really liked it.
It sounds
was
a little
super
bit
fun.
like Hohokum in the sense that it's like about figuring out what the different traits of the different characters,
Yes.
and the different
Oh, yeah.
characteristics of things in the world do, and like how do you bring them together?
There was sushi that was flying. One of them had a jetpack, but not a visible one. It's just the sushi was a rocket. And then there was a tree that would dance, and it'd shake out apples, and then you could eat the apples, and then you would poop, and then the poop would come out, and you'd do a little swirly, and then a toilet character would come down.
What happened?
And then you flush the poop into the toilet, and then you get golden poop. And then there was a soccer game. I don't know. It was pretty neat. I thought it was neat.
Was Pele there?
No, he's still backstage at the EA thing talking.
Oh,
He's almost done.
And probably not, actually.
yeah.
I want to play that game.
And with that, we'll be back after a break with our first set of guests.
Gotta be yourself, cause you're fantastic, yeah, yeah, yeah. Gotta stamp your feet and shake your head now. We're all gonna dance and freak out somehow. This is all we need. Yeah, we'll all be friends forever. Da, 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 da. Yeah, we'll all be friends together. Be yourself, cause you're fantastic, yeah, 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 yeah. Gotta stamp your feet and shake your head now. We're all gonna dance and freak out somehow. This is all we need. You got to have fun with friends. Stamp your feet and shake your together. All we want and all we need is each other. Before the day is gone, we sing our song and we work things out together. We know our time has come, 'cause we can make a difference if we come together as one. Friends forever. Da 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 da. We'll all be friends together. Da 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 da. We can make our lives a little better if we all just get along. We can build ourselves a better future. Together we're so strong. 'Cause we can make a difference if we come together.